This is Allison once again, and back with a new part for the Wild Orchid. So let's get to it. Oh, Zarel, there you are, Eloise said and grabbed Zarel by her wrists. She looked to see that there were several hairpins falling out of her friend's head. I need your help. She saw the desperate look in her friend's face. It would almost be funny if it wasn't such a dire situation, and a wedding would qualify as just that. All right, let's get you fixed up for this wedding, Zarel said as she entered the room. She led the soon-to-be bride over to the vanity mirror and prompted her to sit down, while she brought some sanity back to the mess that was her hair. Do you want it up or down? Zarel asked her. Can you just chop it all off? She asked, followed by a long, desperate sigh. Zarel gave her a smile and took to the task of removing the remaining hairpins. Don't worry, we'll fix it. Nothing can fix this train wreck, she said, looking like she was about to cry. Seeing the fright on her friend's face in the reflection in the mirror, Zarel felt empathy for her. If it was one day in a girl's entire life that her hair should look perfect, it was her wedding day. I look awful, Eloise said, closing her eyes tight. It seems that she didn't want to look at herself just then. She was in fact an extremely pretty girl, with her blonde hair that settled into a natural wave. Her eyes were of an electric blue, and her porcelain skin was nearly flawless. At 18, she was nearly perfect in her looks, and she glowed that certain radiance that most girls in love did. It's impossible for you to look awful, Zarel said as she took the last of the pins out. She picked up the brush and made gentle strokes. You always look beautiful. In fact, you're pretty and smart enough to do anything you want. And what you want to do is marry my brother? It's one of the greatest mysteries I'll never figure out. Oh, yes, you will, Eloise said, giving her a smile for the first time since Zarel arrived. When you fall madly and hopelessly in love, you'll know. That's never going to happen, Zarel said with a laugh as she finished up the first of Eloise's side buns. She started working on the second when she heard Eloise laugh. Oh, yes, you will, when you least expect it. That's what everyone says, but I'm not the type, she said, and added the last pin. How is that? Eloise looked up in the mirror to see Zarel's handiwork. She gasped, which worried her friend. I love it, Eloise said, while letting out a squeal. You're a genius. She popped out of her chair and walked over to the bed. Draped over the top was her wedding dress. Her parents spared no expense for her big day and ordered the fabric from Paris months in advance. Your dress looks beautiful, Zarel said, looking at the intricate detail of the exquisite garment, to the delicate lace and pearl beading that formed the flower design. Yes, Mother and I worked for months on it, she said with pride, but a sadness showed in Zarel's eyes, which did not go unnoticed by Eloise. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It's okay, Zarel said, but she couldn't help letting a tear escape her eye. I've lived without my mother for my whole life, so I'm used to it. Well, when your time comes, I'll be there to help you, she said with an excited smile. Zarel didn't want to argue the fact that she had no desire to ever get married. Let's get you married first, Zarel said, and helped Eloise on with her dress. It took a while, but she finally got into it and walked over to the full-length mirror to see how she looked. You look wonderful, Zarel said, a genuine, happy smile coming to her face. I just fear that my brother might be left speechless when he sees you. Do you think so? Eloise asked with a hint of fear in her voice. If he is rendered speechless, then he can't say I do, and oh, it would just ruin the wedding because we won't be able to get married and— Calm down, Zarel said, trying to ease down her ramblings. Eloise was prone to dramatics, but that was part of her charm. Zarel was much more in control and almost always kept a level head about things. I'm only teasing. The truth is nothing is going to stop my brother from marrying you. Are you sure? Eloise asked, still having fear in her eyes. I've been having these dreams about something that's going to happen to stop the wedding. Elle, don't worry, Zarel said and embraced her friend. I will personally make sure that no one, I mean no one, ruins your wedding. After they parted, Eloise looked relieved. Are you sure? She asked, and Zarel could see that she was still worried. Of course I am, she said, and took her friend's hand. You see, I'm determined to have you for a sister-in-law. They both laughed just as someone came into the room. Eloise gasped while Zarel stood in front of her just in case it was her eager brother. Eloise was superstitious type, and would see it as a bad omen if Devlin were to see her in her dress before the ceremony. Well, hello, girls, the woman's voice came out. Zarel was relieved that it was only Eloise's mother, Lorraine. She quickly closed the door and looked upon the girls. Don't worry, she said, and waved her hand around. If Eloise got her dramatics from somewhere, it was her mother. Our groom will not see you, Lorraine's words gave her daughter a sense of relief. Now, let me see that dress. Eloise gave a twirl, and her mother gave a look of pride. So, does it look all right? You're a vision, Lorraine Freeman said, and came over and embraced her. I have the finishing touch to make it perfect. Zarel noticed that the older woman was holding a long velvet box and handed it to Eloise. Zarel stood and watched with anticipation while Eloise opened the box. Inside lay a beautiful cameo necklace surrounded by pearls, held together by a roped gold chain. This belonged to your great-grandmother, and now I'm giving it to you, her mother said as she held up the necklace. I'll help you put it on. Are you sure you want to give this to me? Eloise asked as her mother pressed down on the clasp. Of course I do, her mother said as she turned around and showed off the beautiful necklace. This'll be your something old, and something you can pass down to on your daughter's wedding day. Eloise blushed at her mother's words. Zarel just rolled her eyes at the rather silly tradition, but seeing that Eloise was the superstitious type, it had to be done. Well, the dress is something new, and my garter is blue, so that just leaves borrowed, Eloise said, and turned to Zarel. She thought fast and remembered the silver bracelet that she was wearing. It was the one that Eloise gave her for her birthday. It would be perfect for her to wear. Do you remember this? She asked as she took off the bracelet and held it up. Even for a simple piece of jewelry, it sparkled in the room's artificial light. Are you sure? Eloise asked, knowing that the bracelet meant a lot to her. I would love for you to wear it, Zarel said, and dropped it into her hand. Oh, thank you, Zarel, Eloise said and embraced her. I promise to return it after the ceremony is over. Isn't it time that the maid of honor has gotten dressed? Eloise's mother asked, giving Zarel a stern look. It's not like anyone is going to be looking at me anyway, Zarel said, but still the older woman gave her a disapproving look. Oh, all right, I'll wear that pink frilly dress, but only for Eloise. It's good that you have come to your senses, Zarel, Lorraine said, and put her arm around her shoulders and led her to the door. It's hanging in the guest room at the end of the hall. Now go change while I help Eloise on with her veil. Yes, Mrs. Freeman, she said half sarcastically. Again, she received a disapproving glare from her best friend's mother. Well, that's it, everybody. It will be continued, so I hope you're here next time to see what happens next. And remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.